Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Trixie Tricycle and this is my fourth Flosstube episode. If you're new, this is a podcast channel, whatever, about cross stitch and crafts and strange collections of things and, like I said last time, sort of oddly curated memories from the 60s, 70s, 80s. Although 60s is kind of pushing it because technically I wasn't really around until the 70s. So it's more like, grandparent memories and parent memories and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm glad that you're here. Welcome. And let's get going. Today we're going to talk about some things that I finished, things that I've been working on, things that I've started, and some stuff that I got. So the first thing I want to do though is talk about a couple of, one specifically, correction from my last video. I was talking about how a few people had commented on my 2x4 floss winder of death, and I mentioned that someone had come up with a much better and math-oriented idea about a way that I could be more efficient about measuring my floss. Anyway, and I said that her name was Padma, and actually she pronounces it Padma. So I just wanted to correct that. And thank you again. She's been very kind, reaching out on Instagram and saying hello, and has been active in commenting on some of those projects that I'm working on and sharing on my Instagram account. So with that out of the way, I would like to answer one question that came up. Someone was asking about she described it as clips that I was using on one of my projects, and I went back and looked at what she was talking about, and we confirmed that this is indeed what she was talking about. So these are little silicone kind of stretchy magnets. Other people have used them. I've seen them on other people's channels. And what they do is they basically, when you're working on a project, if you've got a lot of extra fabric, you can just stretch these around the edge of your scroll frame and they will just magnet together. So they're super useful. I found these on Amazon. I'll put a link for them in my description. And anyway, so I think that was what she was talking about. So that's that question. And I will do my best. I'm really trying to do my best to put as much information as I can in the description, but I'm totally happy to answer questions. Again, it takes me maybe a day or two, depending on my work schedule to get back, but I try to reply, and I really enjoy reading through your comments. So, and I do have some notes today to try and stay on track because I feel like I'm a little disjointed. This video took me a little bit longer. I think it's been just over 2 weeks since I recorded the last one, and I'm trying to keep it on about a 2-week schedule. So this feels like it's been a little bit longer, but I think that's just, it's life. We all have things, and this is something fun that we do, and so I wanted to make sure that I had myself a little bit organized before I just came on and rambled. Yeah, at least I want it to be a somewhat scripted ramble, correct? Yeah, right. Okay. A few of you were very kind in mentioning me in your most recent Flosstube video, so I wanted to give a couple shout outs. One of them is a Flosstuber who's relatively new. I've been watching her for a little while, and her name is Lee, and her channel is Sew, as in S-E-W, Lei Lei Belles, and I'll put that in the, every time, I'll write that on the screen with the magic of technology so that you can go and find her. She does great full coverage projects. She's a really amazing seamstress, and she does all kinds of sewing projects, and so she goes a lot into some of the other non-cross-stitching things that she does. But this time it cracked me up. She had this, she's starting a really large full coverage project, and the piece of even weave, she's got a piece of even weave, like the magic grid. It was like the size of a bed sheet. She was sitting on her couch and she pulled it out. It was like, that's a really big piece of fabric. And I don't know how big I think she was going to be stitching, there was something a little different about the way that she was going to be stitching it, that it wasn't going to be a 1/1. I think she's actually going for a little bit larger. So it's going to be huge, which is so cool. So anyway, go check her out. The other one, and I get such a kick out of him, is Kyle from Stitching and Sound. And he was one of the first people that commented on my very first YouTube video, and was so nice about, just the feedback that he gave, about kind of the videography, which was, this is all self-taught. I haven't done any, and you can tell, I haven't done any formal film training. This is all like YouTube video, watching people and learning about camera settings and trying to teach myself, Adobe Premiere, which is a film editing software, and everything is very laborious for me to learn. This is sort of, old dog, not so new tricks, but just new to me kinds of tricks. And I'm using a 10-year-old video camera, nothing super fancy. Like, I have a few lights and, but anyway, he was very, very nice about, just talking about that he thought that my video looked nice. So thank you. But then he was just, Kyle, he was describing me, and at the end he said, so you should go watch her because she swears and she burps. And I was like, I do? I know I said that I'm a swear, and I did play at the end of my last video kind of an outtake from my very first video when I was trying to sort of muster up the courage to actually talk into the camera. Anyway, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, listen, I have no compunction about it. I feel proud to be included with my brothers and sisters in eructation and flatulation. Not to be confused with flagellation, which, if you're into that, that's, no judge. But I don't think I've belched on camera yet. But I told him when he messaged me, he said, hey, I gave you a shout out. I was like, yeah, I know, that was awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Do I burp? And he was like, maybe. I don't really know. And I was like, hey, no, again, no problem. I'm happy to be lumped into that group, and I think that maybe you can just tell what I do when I'm not on camera. So, fair play. Anyway, thank you. And if you don't watch Kyle, Stitching and Sound, you should go watch him because he's a beautiful stitcher and very funny. And his Instagram account, he's got in his stories, he's always got links to really great music that sometimes I'm surprised that he will link to them. The other day he linked to one of my favorite Susie and the Banshees songs. And I think he might be, 20? How old are you, Kyle? Because you look young. And I'm impressed that you know that song, because that was out when I was in high school. Okay. Darcy Cameron. Hi, Darcy. Darcy has a new video that just came out yesterday, as of the day that I'm filming, which is the 28th. Is today the 28th? Yes, Friday, May 28th. So he put a video out and said some nice things that I appreciate. And he also said that he was a little bit overhearing. It's like every time I watch a video, people are saying you should go watch Trixie Tricycle. You should watch Trixie. So I'm just gonna say, Darcy, there's somebody that you should go watch. Their Flosstube channel, and their name is Trixie Tricycle, and I think you might enjoy the content shared on that particular channel. Also, go watch Darcy Cameron. If you don't watch Darcy Cameron already, and I cannot imagine that you're not already watching him, go watch his channel. He's very funny. He just finished a giant Heaven and Earth designs that I think he started in, did he say 2014, 2013? He's been working on it for years, and it's beautiful, and you just finished it a few days ago. So congratulations, that is a huge accomplishment. All right, so I think that is going to do it for shout outs. Again, thank you everybody for subscribing and commenting, and for sharing amazing memories in your comments. I still just am blown away by how many of you have been watching and participating. It's really been a good time. So I'm gonna show a previous finish, and this was a gift for my mom, so I don't have it here. It is at her house. But it's also baby's first Mirabilia. And I've got a chart here, and it is Silver Moon Tea. And I just thought it was so pretty, and it reminded me of my mom and her, because she does love to, she doesn't drink coffee. She likes, I'm not even sure she likes coffee flavored ice cream. She loves tea, but she doesn't like the taste of coffee. So, so this just made me think of her, because, and I'm gonna insert a photo. It's not gonna include, I actually kind of customized, let's see if I can see this right at the bottom. Is that gonna, please focus. At the very bottom, it's kind of hard to see it, but it says Earl Grey, which she does like Earl Grey, but I kind of personalized it for her, and I'm gonna blur that part out because it's the name of her Animal Crossing island. And I mentioned in an earlier video that I'm kind of a video game enthusiast a little bit. And last year, when everything shut down and we couldn't really make contact, and we're, doing our, because even though we live in the same town, my sister and my mom, they live in kind of different parts of the Puget Sound region, and we just wanted to be really careful. We didn't want to, make contact, but Animal Crossing was this kind of neat game that your little character could go and visit other players' islands, and it's just a super cute game. If some of you, if you've played it before, you know what I'm talking about, but it was a way to, we'd all get on the phone and we'd talk to each other, and then we'd go visit each other's islands, and we'd trade things, and we'd, dig up trees and give each other flowers and all the things that you do on Animal Crossing. And my mom has one of the prettiest Animal Crossing islands I've ever seen. And I was watching, just like tutorials and trying, because there's like little nuances in different games. Sometimes it's helpful to watch other people play. And so I had watched a few players on Twitch and on YouTube, just sort of how-tos. And some of those videos are like, come check out my island. It's, this is what I've done with it. And I still am blown away by what my mom has been able to do on her island. And one of the themes is that she's got the big, Celeste is one of the characters, and she brings recipes, different, basically construction plans for certain items, and one of them is a big, huge moon. And so she's put that in her island decor, and it's just beautiful. So anyway, that's why this made me think of her, and so that's my previous finish for today. So love you, Mom. Okay, so I have a finish. It's very exciting. And here it is. So this is Logan, 1840. Let's see, is that gonna focus for me? By Whilst Iris Naps. There, you can kind of see that. And this was so much fun to stitch. This whole bottom area, all of this alphabet are eyelet stitches. This bottom is 1/1, and this was on a 38 count linen, and the color is Wayfarer's Cloak. And the floss was a Weeks Dye Works called for. So I put this on some acid-free foam board, pinned it, and put it into this frame. And it fits almost, it's almost too small. Like when you look at the edge, you know, there is actually a stitched border, little green border that goes around the edge, and it's just inside both of those edges. I think I'm okay with it. I probably would have preferred just to like maybe double that for a margin, but I think it's okay. I think it's going to look just fine. And I have another matching frame that is going to be for another project that I'm going to show you in just a little bit. So anyway, that's my finish. My little FFO, fully finished object. Very exciting. Okay. And just to say that the chart was really, I just really like Christina's charts. So go check out her site because she's got some beautiful little reproductions, and her videos are so informative. She always goes into the genealogy of the girls that stitched these samplers, and it's really interesting. And she's got a couple of new ones that, you know, again, like I mentioned in the last video, if I could just stitch the entire, you know, gamut of certain designers' patterns, it would be great. But they're just, again, there's not enough time. There's too many charts. Okay, I'm going to go into starts before I do works in progress, and there's a method to my madness on this one. Really, there's only one work in progress because I finished Logan. I've only got one other one, so I'm going to go into starts because I'm some of those are technically works in progress. It's just that I haven't really done much in the way of progress on those. So you know that I have been working on the Blackbird Designs Magical Mystery Tour series, which is a series of 6 charts based on Beatles songs. I had 2 of those finished, and my plans for May stitching were to start one of the remaining 4 charts each weekend during the month of May. And there are actually 5 weekends in May. There were this, and so the middle weekend I was able to start a stitch along, which that'll be the next thing I talk about. But anyway, so the Magical Mystery Tour charts to date are the 2 that I already had done. So that is Eleanor Rigby and Blackbird, which is this one. So the other ones that I started, Strawberry Fields Forever, which is here. That was the first weekend, and that's as far as I got that first weekend. And then Octopus's Garden. And that one's just so cute. And again, once I completed the weekend for each of those, I just sort of stopped. This last weekend, it was Yellow Submarine. So this is as far as I got on Yellow Submarine. And I've listed the fabrics and the flosses that I'm using. Mostly it's called for flosses, whatever the chart itself called for. And there's only one more to start, and that is Long and Winding Road. So that'll be part of my plans. But that is that's where I'm at with those. So the start was basically the Yellow Submarine, which you guys hadn't seen yet. I think that was the only one. Yeah, because you guys already did see the Octopus's Garden. Okay, so that middle weekend, was invited to and joined a stitch along for the Joan Sands chart by Modern Folk Embroidery. So Joan Sands, 1839. And it's this chart. Let's see if you can see that. A little bit bigger. Anyway, I'm sure you've seen it on other people's channels as well. But we went ahead and started that one on the 15th. And I'm going to leave this on the scroll frame because this was, every once in a while, I just really battle getting things straight on a scroll frame. I'm not taking it off today. It's not, I don't have enough progress to do it. So I haven't gotten that far just because I've had other stuff that I've been working on. But it's really, this is DMC. And again, this is on 38 count Wayfarer's Cloak. And this is going to hang next to Anne Logan. And so the other frame that I purchased is sized for this particular one. So hopefully it will fit and not be quite as tight on the margins. I think it's going to be okay just in, you know, what I already have with that. That's kind of why I went around and did the border. But the folks that are included in that stitch along, it's pretty rare air that I get to be around. It's been really fun. So it's Betsy Klager, my number one, according to Darcy, she's my promoter. So he's not wrong. Betsy Klager single-handedly responsible for a vast majority of you guys being here, so I will always be forever in her debt. And she is currently on vacation. So Betsy, vacation, the beach, stitching, no makeup, just skincare. I love it. If I had a fruity drink, I would raise it to you. I don't. I have a nice coffee, so love ya. So she and Nicky Noodles from Australia are the two that sort of kicked off this stitch along. And then Laura, as of Laura with Brenda and the Serial Starter Laura. Ellen Reed, Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour, my hero. Caroline from Off the Grid Needle Arts and Evertote. Instagram user and now participant in this, Gwyneth. Her Instagram handle is Curling Stones and Cross Stitches, cross with the X. And again, you should be seeing these pop up on the screen somewhere. I think on this side. Did I do it right? And Kathy, who also lives on the island Tasmania, southern edge of Australia. Her Instagram account is Kathy Taz Purdon. So Kathy with a C, T-A-Z, Purdon. And then many of you. And so the people who have used the Joan Sands Mania Sal hashtag on Instagram. We have Knitter from Norway, Flower and Linen, Mama_yo-yo-yoder, Stitch Brat, Kathy Shuttle, and Phil and 69. So thank you everybody for participating in that, and it is a really, really fun stitch. So if any of you guys are interested in doing a stitch along with us crazy group of people, and I don't mean that in a negative way, and I'm gonna If you would like to participate in that stitch along with the zany hijinks that will ensue from our shared experience in stitching this chart, please join us. Okay, the other stitch along, and I said that I was going to start this during my last video, and this is the stitch along that Stitch Again Sam, who has a few Flosstube videos also. I really love her aesthetic, and we're about the same age, so we have a lot in common, seems like. But she started a stitch along that, you know, she was like, if anybody wants to do this with me, and I started this just a couple days ago, and it is such a cute chart. But this is from the Emma Congdon Cross Stitch for the Earth book, and there are 20 different patterns in here. I think it's on Amazon for, I'm sure you can get it in multiple places, but it's very, very reasonably priced, especially for the number of charts that are in here. And I said the last time that this wasn't really my style, and I'm gonna go back on that. These are really well done charts, and there are some really, really cool ones in here. In fact, before I show you the one that we're doing as a stitch along, I think Jody from Steel City Stitchers also showed one of these, and it's this chart, the Between the Pines chart, and that is just gorgeous, and it reminds me a lot of kind of the Pacific Northwest, you know, just those really tall evergreen trees, and I love all the greens in there. They're really, really pretty. You know, and it's a quote from John Muir, who, you know, kind of legendary on the West Coast for being in the outdoors. And there's all kinds of trails and camp areas and national park spots that are named after him. And anyway, the one that we are doing is this, and she labeled this, the hashtag is Seasonal Earth Sal, and she, I said it kind of incorrectly last time, what her plan is to work on one of the sections each season, which is super smart. So anyway, I went ahead and started that, and this is as far as I got. I decided to do this super tiny, so I'm just using some sort of neutral color 25 count Zweigart even weave that I just got. I think I got it from Hirschner's, that's what the label said. But I'm going to do this with the DMC, the called for DMC, which is this luscious palette of different beautiful rainbow colors. And I'm going to do that I'm going to do it 1/1. So that is as far as I got. A couple of the little spring motifs, a couple bunnies, a little rainbow. Can you see that? There you go. And it's really tiny. But I think it's going to be really cute. So the full size, I just sort of stitched out where those borders will be. So it's going to be super little, but I really like it. I'm enjoying that. I think that's going to be a really fun chart to have. And it got me thinking about, so my grandmother passed away a few years ago, and this, I'm talking about my mom's mom. And this pin belonged to her. She was a big, there were a few things she was really into, and costume jewelry was one of them. She never left the house without a pair of earrings, and she usually had a brooch or a necklace to match. And when we went over to her house, she had these, my cousins would always we always wanted to wear one of her pins because she had these velvet boards that would be covered with all kinds of different, you know, mother of pearl and different stones, and most of them were butterflies or flowers and I am fortunate enough to have a collection of those now. And this is one of them. But I also was given a box of some of her, she would cut things out of magazines. She would tear out little articles for craft projects, and she liked to draw, and she painted, you know, flowers and little bugs, and she was very into camping and outdoors and wildlife, and there was a huge appreciation for taking care of things. She gave me a subscription to Ranger Rick. Do you guys remember Ranger Rick? Ranger Rick was one of the earliest. It was like a kid's magazine, kind of like highlights, but Ranger Rick was more about not littering and, you know, being good stewards of the planet. And this is in like the, you know, mid to early 70s. And so from a very early age, that was kind of ingrained on, an impression was made, let's just say, on, you know, having an appreciation for wildlife and bugs and plants and trees. And anyway, there was a roll in that box, and this is my grandmother's handwriting, and this is what it's like, basically a poster tube: bugs, butterflies, flowers, and trees. So this is what was inside, and these are full size, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the whole thing in here. I may have to. So this says, if you can see it, oh gosh, the forest belongs to every living thing. And then it has a whole bunch of bugs. And this was put out by the U.S. Forest Service. And that is Smokey Bear. So this was one of the other ones. And it just says "Pretty Please," and it's got all the different butterflies on it. These are about 30 inches by 20 inches. There was an entire series of posters that were released in about the mid-80s. And here's the one with the flowers. Why be careful with fire in the forest? Pick a reason. So it's got, you know, trillium, and it's got just beautiful little flowers. And there's Smokey again. He's got a flower in the brim of his hat. And then the last one is the different types of trees. And those are just the 4 that I have that she had. Anyway, they are really, really cool. And I kind of did a little background because I wanted to see if there were other posters in that series, and there are. There was a series of 15 of them. And they had fish, and, you know, there are a number of different themes. Each one has kind of a theme. But before you run out and go to Etsy or go to eBay or go anywhere else to try and track these down, they're still available. As of 2 days ago, they are still available on the U.S. Forest Service website. You can buy them. And people have, you know, I kind of looked initially, and people are selling them for, you know, $20 a piece or something like that for each poster. You can buy all 15 posters for $16.50 from the U.S. Forest Service website. So if you have any interest in, you know, looking at those, and there's some other stuff on that site that, you know, it's kind of cool too, but don't buy them. Don't, you know, go buy them from the Forest Service. I mean, they're still available. 15 posters, $16.50. And that's not for each of them. That's like all 15 posters for $16.50 US dollars. Pro tip. And Smokey Bear, and a lot of people call him Smokey the Bear, and that actually started because there was a song written, and Smokey the Bear sounds a little bit better lyrically, rhythm-wise, than Smokey Bear. So it's kind of accepted either way, but officially it was Smokey Bear. Smokey Bear wasn't the first I guess, mascot for that public service announcement that the Forest Service put out about prevention of, at the time they referred to it as forest fires. Now it's wildfires, because it's not always in a forest. Sometimes it's urban interface, or it's, brush fires in cities. And obviously we're a lot more familiar with those because they happen pretty frequently. So anyway, the first mascot was Bambi. And U.S. Forest Service made a deal, I guess, with Disney that they could use that for a year. And that movie, because the beginning of the movie was that Bambi's mother was lost in a forest fire. So once that was done, once that year was up, they needed to come up with a better mascot, or they needed to come up with their own original mascot. And so that's where Smokey Bear came from. Which is kind of a detour, but like, is it weird to anybody else that that kids movies are so like tragedy centered? I mean, there's, obviously Bambi. And like the cartoon version of Dumbo, rips your heart out. And then, I mean, like, you can make a whole list of like kids movies that are just like, what, the Old Yeller, or Where the Red Fern Grows, like just devastating, like super sad. Like The Land Before Time. It's like a whole series, like Up. If you play the first 4 notes in the movie Up, I'm done. Like, that's it. First 4 notes. And music in movies, that's like, okay, so Toy Story 2. If you've ever seen Toy Story 2 so there's Andy, that's the Tom Hanks character and he's the cowboy. Well, then there's Jessie, and Jessie, I think it's Joan Cusack who does the voice for Jessie. And like Sarah McLachlan sings a song, I think it was called When She Loved Me. And like, I am a goner. Like Jessie looks out that donation box at the station wagon driving away. Come on. What are we doing to kids, man? Maybe I'm too sensitive. I wasn't even a kid when that movie came out. That movie came out in like the late I think I was like 30 when that movie came out. And it'll still just put that on YouTube and I'm like, that's it. Anyway, that's a little detour. So I thought those were fun. It was kind of fun to sort of track those down and see, she again, my grandma was, there were some things that she did that were interesting. But she was, I remember her as being pretty independent. My grandfather passed away when I was pretty little. I was very young. I was like 2.5, 3 years old. And so she was kind of on her own for a long time, and she always drove an Oldsmobile, and she took herself to, I remember she took a trip to Arizona, and she just kind of was out there with maybe one other friend, but she drove. I remember thinking about that when I was in my, 10, 12 years old. Just thought that was so cool. You just drive across the country, go see stuff. So, anyway. All right. So, works in progress. Oh, actually, let me just show you real quick. Don't have it. Do I have it? Yeah, I have it. It's kind of out of order, but this is the final chart that I'll be starting this weekend. So, Blackbird Designs, Long and Winding Road. I'm doing it on a piece of 32 count prairie grass, and that's by Seraphim. It's got a little bit of modeling in it, not a lot. It's pretty neutral, and using the called for flosses, so that'll be pretty. So there's that. Okay. Works in progress. And like I said last time, I was pretty optimistic that I was going to be able to maybe finish Gila J. No, it is too big. Far too big. Get yourselves organized. Okay, so here's the silk. Here's the chart. Look how beautiful. And here she is. So, since you've seen her last, the house is done, and that row of letters is done. So I've got one more row of letters and then a bunch of little motifs, and then I have to complete the border at the bottom, and I've got to put all those little leaves on this side. But I think it's very pretty. This is stitched on 36 count Haunted by Picture This Plus with the called for Auversois Soie d'Alger silk. And it is really nice to stitch with. I kind of like going back and forth in between, when you go back and forth between DMC and silk. I really like stitching with both. But this has been a super fun project. So there was a week in there or so where it's all I worked on. It's just so much fun. I love it. I'm looking forward to getting that one done and being able to put it up. All right. So that is gonna do it for works in progress and for the stuff that I've been stitching on. Plans? No, not yet. We're gonna talk about stuff I got. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. I don't need more stuff. But that's not the point. There are things that we want to get. So I was on a little bit of a fabric tear, so to speak, this last couple weeks. And not only cross-stitch fabric, but also quilting fabric. Everyone's been super excited about Singer featherweights, and I'm not gonna get a Singer featherweight. I have my white 764, which I love, and while I appreciate and understand the loyalty to Singers, and I understand the options that it gives you in terms of free stitching, where you can drop the feed dogs and you can do a lot of really good quilting, and the stitch quality is beautiful on those. It's very straight, it's extremely consistent, and those machines were just built in a way that if they're maintained properly, and it's very little maintenance that you need to do, it's just oiling, clean, keeping the certain areas clean, and they last obviously for so long. And they're just really made beautifully. And the whole thing with the featherweight is just that they are aluminum body. They're easy to carry around. so that you can take them to quilting retreats. And so I've been really enjoying watching and kind of learning about those machines, but I'm gonna put my foot down because I have everything, all of the same things are things that which is why I have that sewing machine. I mean, it does a lot of the same things, except for it also does a zigzag stitch. And I'm not saying that my 764 is as good as a Singer featherweight. I'm just saying that all of the things that I would be doing with it at the level that I'm doing any kind of sewing or stitching, I have that with my current sewing machine. And actually I have two of them, so I have one for parts if I need it. So I'm good. I'm good on the machine tip. And if I start going down that road, whew. But that doesn't mean that I didn't buy fabric. So anyway, I'm going to start with the cross stitch stuff and then I'll go into some quilting fabric. Actually, you can see a few of those up there. It's just so pretty. I had to sort of put them up and make my whole theme behind me blue. I don't think there's a lot of love given to blue in the 60s. You know, that whole kind of kitchen theme that was happening in the 70s, like the olive green and the mustard yellow and the orange, and so great together, but like, what's the blue? There kind of wasn't one. It's like for a while it was just this, like, was blue shunned? So we're giving a little blue love today. All right, so first piece of fabric that I'm going to show you, I just got in the mail earlier today. I mentioned before that I'm in Brandy's Bestitch Me. I'm in her Fabric of the Month club, and I just got changed to the 40 count. And this is what I got today. Holy crap! Look how beautiful that is. This is called Stonehenge. Oh, it's so gorgeous. So speaking of blue, it's like a beautiful green gray, whoa. It's so pretty. Look at it again. Let's look at it again. So, there you go. Bestitch Me, Stonehenge, 40 count. Good work. This is a beautiful piece of fabric. I am very excited to consider what is going to live on that. That makes stash building fun. Okay, and then I have been buying all the things. Kitten Stitcher is probably really tired of seeing my name on there. It'd be one thing if I could just like decide everything on a certain day, but no, I will order something. I will be watching, collecting, you know, a few things that I want, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and put an order in because I don't want, you know, I don't want her to be out of whatever it is that she has on this particular day. But then 2 days later, I see something else and I'm like, oh God. Anyway, this is 36 count Alien from the Moon by XJU Designs. And that's pretty true to what it looks like. It's got this like really dramatic modeling. It's almost like a seafoam green, a mustard yellow green with some gray, and then just on a really basic light green fabric. I love it. And I don't know that I would put a big huge piece on this. I think this might be kind of cool for medium pieces, maybe some Halloween stitching. I don't know yet. I just saw it and I wanted it. And now I have it. That's how that works. See it, want it, have it. This is a piece of 46 count light nougat, also by XJU Designs. And that, again, it's pretty close to being accurate. It may be a little bit, it's not really like a beige, it's almost like a pink. It's got like a pinky taupey kind of neutral look to it. So I really like that. And I'm thinking with a 46 count, I showed you guys a project that I wanted to start and that I've got kind of kitted up. Excuse me. And that was, it's also Kitten Stitcher. This is Shakespeare's Peddler. The Spanish Mystery Sampler, which is a really large piece. I think the stitch count is 500. 500 by 320. So it's big. This is a big, big chart. And on 40 count, it would be 25 by 16. So that is a big chart. But I'm thinking, how pretty would it be on 46 count? Because a lot of the called for floss is silk. And so with one strand on a 46 count, let's see, can you see that? Let's put this in this hand. I don't know, what do we think? I think that could be really, really beautiful. So I'm thinking that I might kind of change up my plans for that. Because I had decided, like, maybe I was going to do this piece of 38 count filbert, which is a little dark. But getting that nougat out, I think it could be really beautiful. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Okay. A few more things here. Now that it's kind of almost summer, you know, we're getting close. I saw this chart. There's a little Plum Street blackberry house. And blackberry bushes are blooming. We have them all over the place here. You always know that honeybees are getting ready to swarm when the blackberry blossoms are in full bloom, and I'm seeing more and more honeybees, which is always, I always like that. It's always nice to see them. I kept bees for a little while, and it is really difficult to do that. And the house that I live in now is not terribly conducive to beekeeping, but I really miss it. And so anyway, I saw this and it made me think of summer and blackberry pie and cobbler and muffins, and they're so good. Like going out and picking your own blackberries and then, you know, baking something with them is just so good. So this reminded me of summer. And so did these, and I actually got these a while ago. So I think, I want to say I got these at the Silver Needle, maybe. I'd have to go back and look, but they're these like little French kind of botanicals. You know, they remind me of something that would like go in your kitchen. It came with a little piece of fabric, and then it's got a little charm that goes with it too. There is a fair amount of backstitch, but I got the red currant pattern, and I also got the raspberry pattern. And I think those would be really cute as a set. Little summertime jobbies. And now I'm going to share a little obsession with you. Oh boy. There's a designer, Cynthia Bradford, and she makes, her design company is Little by Little. And this series, Little by Little charts, are, I just think they're so, so cute. They're kind of wobbly. They've got that like wonky lettering, bright and colorful, kind of goofy. It looks like a kid stitched it, except so many of the samplers that we do, kids did stitch, and they don't look like kids stitched it. They look like amazing, needle workers. They're like 7 years old, and it's like everything's beautiful. These look like actual kids stitched them, and I love it because this feels more like something that I would actually come up with. I think they're so cute. So this is Tisket a Tasket. Get ready. Hold on. I have many. This little trifling thing for you. Look at that cute purple. Oh, so cute. Love to thee. And like the borders are all wonky, and again the lettering sort of funky. But they're so cute. That looks like little pineapples. Maybe they're strawberries. I don't know. They could be whatever you want them to be. Blue Dwelling is my station. What does that even mean? I don't know. Do I love it? Humble Hand. I sew my name with humble hand. I like the frames that a lot of the little chart photos are on too. Completed Blue. Look at that border. We'll do a couple more. Beastie of the Barn. Look at that funky heart. Is that what is that? Is that like a paddock? It can be whatever you want it to be. It's just super cute. Black Heart. I'm like, what is that? What are those? Are those just like little trees? I love it so much. It's like if your little nephew or niece drew you a picture and then you just cross-stitched it. Which everyone should do, to be honest. Like, why aren't we all doing that? Maybe you're all doing that, and I missed it. Banbury Cross. Look at that rooster. The Vine, with just like a vine and some letters. There's more. Hot cider. I might replace that with coffee. I might rechart it and make it say coffee. And I might do this one almost immediately because I really, really like it. It's super cute. And it's got that crow on it. I was thinking about it, and most charts that I have, if it's got an animal on it, it's one of 4 different things. If it's got, sort of a member of the animal kingdom, including insects, these would be the 4 things. Rabbits, crows, dogs, bees. And I'm not original. I mean, I think that that's a pretty common theme for, there's lots of rabbits in crotch stitch, right? Lots of rabbits. Rabbits, crows, dogs, bees. I love all those things. Speaking of rabbits, I love this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I caught a hare alive. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I let her go again. Look at that little bunny. Meep, beep, beep. So cute. Caught in the garden. Quaker Strawberry, another summer chart, because summer. Last one. A Tale of This and That. I love that one. Birds. These birdies perched on flowering vine, this side and that, as all may see, are not on speaking terms, for you see, starting again. These birdies perched on flowering vine, this side and that, as all may see, are not on speaking terms, you see, for this one stole away While that slept at break of day, ate up the early worm that day. Don't at me with the reading skills here, because you can see the spacing is not. I think it's so cute. Not to mention it was about little birdies fighting. Seems about right. Okay. Sometimes I get on a thing, and those ones, I think that Kitten Stitcher, she's got a section on her website, and it's called Treasures. I think that I read that she had purchased a kind of a cache of charts and other supplies from a stitching store that was going out of business, and some of those things were included, and then she just has, you know, charts that are somewhat difficult to find. It's like some Sheepish Designs, which is another designer that I really like, and a lot of those have gone kind of by the wayside. You know, a lot of out of print things, and that's always sad for us new stitchers when we see something, or, you know, it's really hard to get, or it's almost impossible to get. But on the upside, there's so much stuff to stitch. Like, you know, it's not like we're in this drought of things to stitch. We've got more than enough. But anyway, so that's where a lot of those little by little charts came from, and I just think they're super cute. So that, I think, it's not it. Nope, nope, nope. So I was talking about quilting fabric, and Fat Quarter Shop, that place has all my money. It's worth it. But I did mention that I was really excited about getting into making some project bags. And I am considering, you know, maybe delving just a little bit into quilting. It's not going to take over. I don't have the time to be able to dedicate to an entirely new thing, and I'm really enjoying cross stitching. And I love making project bags because it's something that it takes, you know, you can spend a day and you can make, like, if you're, you know, efficient about it, you can make 8 project bags. At least, like, that's about my speed. You know, you get them all cut out, and then you get the ironing, and you can just listen to book on tape or whatever. So I was looking at some different fabrics, and the hard part about quilting fabrics is that once they're gone, they're gone. Like, they will do a run of a certain type of fabric, and it's really rare that they will end up, you know, making it again, which is okay, because there's so many different beautiful kinds of fabrics. But this is one that was a bundle together, and it's called Bluebird. And there's 2 pieces of it up on my wall right now because they're just so pretty. But these are kind of the, you know, I'm not going to undo it, so it took me a while to put this together. But I just think they're so pretty. So if you're friends with me, I hope you like project bags, because you're probably going to get some. So yeah, that is called, that was by Timeless Treasures, and it's just called Bluebird. That was a Fat Quarter bundle. This one is by Sevenberry for Robert Coppin Fabrics, and that's English Garden. The Fat Quarter bundle, and these both came from the Fat Quarter Shop. So these ones are a little bit lighter. It's not quite that big bright blue, but it does have those really pretty florals and that really delicate, like, this reminds me of like China or like little tea sets. Or there's a Flosstuber. I'm gonna link her name. I think is it Somi Sarah? She just made her second Flosstube video, And she started out by showing her tea set or like teacup collection, and some of them belong to her grandmother and some of them she's found on her own. They are stunning. They are beautiful. Like and she does like a little film. She like pans back and forth and shows the inside of these teacups. Oh my God. Like, I am not a china or dishes person. That's not something that I would do, just because dogs and busy and clanking things around and they would break and I would be devastated. So, but wow. Not only does she do beautiful stitching and other really, really neat projects, she's lovely. I'm going to link her. Go watch her channel because she's new, doesn't have a whole lot of, so she needs to have like 1 billion subscribers. So let's go. But yeah, oh man, the teacups. And tell me if I'm right, because they are beautiful. All right, these are not really stitching related, but the fact that I'm going to announce the winners here in just a second of our giveaway last time, and then we're going to do another one. Because I was thinking about, how I'm going to be mailing things out, and I really, I have a lot of love for the U.S. Postal Service, and I don't have a lot of love for mistreatment of such. So I would very much like for there to be, I just am so grateful that we have a postal service, and I think that it has just kind of undergone some, I'm just going to say, poor leadership in the, I'm not going to get political, but I love the Postal Service, and I think that it's really important that we maintain it and that it is a national treasure in my mind. So anyway, greeting cards. My mom has always been super good at writing greeting cards. I have not been as good about that, but it is something that I continue to try to be good at. And every year, up until this past early 2021, in fact, it was about the last thing that we did in public, but in 2020, it was one of the last like big events that was held in Seattle, and it was the Flower and Garden Show in February, late February of 2020. And we like to go to the garden show every year and just see all the different displays. It's at the Washington State Convention Center in downtown Seattle. And so lots and lots of plants, but there's a lot of craft items, and there's a lot of, it's just a huge variety of things. But one stand we always love to go to is Two Dog Studio, and her name is Eileen Sorg, and she always has the cutest greeting cards, and she also has print size versions of some of her artwork. But I'm going to link her website, because I think that her stuff is super, super cute. So like, this is one of her greeting cards. And she's always got like some cute little punny names. So this one's called Over the Moon. It's just got that cute fox and it's pouncing on those cute little mice. This one's called the Bantam Warrior. Look at that mad little hummingbird. He's so cute. She always puts in like either toys or other objects in a lot of her cards, like this one. So it's got a cassette tape. And if you look closely, it's an Annie Lennox. This little bird by Annie Lennox, which I think is adorable. And this one is called Track 1. So these two, of course, they go together. Knit 1 and Purl 2. Look how cute they are. Ooh. I'm not going to show you all of them because I want you to go to her website and take a look. This last one, though, I just think is so cute. Domesticity. Little Stitcher bird. Mm. So, Eileen Sorg, S-O-R-G, 2dogstudio.com, all one word. Go look at her stuff. She's got calendars. She's got, again, full-size prints that you can purchase, but her greeting cards are really reasonable, and they are adorable. And she's in the Pacific Northwest. So if you're from here, she's local. And then these cards, I got a Kitten Stitcher store. So it's 8 of the, it's based on 8 Birds of a Feather charts. So anyway, I really like those. They came with envelopes and just little greeting cards. So that's cute. All right, so plans. I am going to continue on the works in progress that I have. Now that June is going to be rolling around, I can do some more progress on the Magical Mystery Tour charts. I'll probably go back, start with Strawberry Fields Forever, and then I think I'm just going to work through and finish those. Unless I really get in the mood, I want to switch it up and start. But I'll probably just start in the order that, each weekend I'll go back to Strawberry Fields Forever and I'll finish that one and then move to the next one. And I do have some plans on how I want to finish that, and it may or may not involve .45s. This one is a 45 of The Long and Winding Road. And by 45, for those of you that are not familiar, this is a vinyl record album. And they're the full-size ones, and then there's little-size ones. And they were played at different speeds. So I think that had to do with the RPM. And you had to have like a little fitting in the middle. It was like this little plastic plug that you would put in here so that it would sit on the spindle of your turntable. Because if you look at a large size album, it's just got the spindle size hole, and then it sits down on the turntable. I know that turntables are sort of having a resurgence, so most of you probably know what they were, but there's something really warm about an album. And there's something really alive sounding about the needle on the vinyl itself. And some of that imperfection, where there's a little bit of a scratch to it, it's just something, it feels like a hug. So I'm going to fully finish Honey Bunny. I also have plans for that one, which I'm kind of keeping on the secret level, but I'm really excited about how that one's shaping up. I am going to be making some project bags, and I'm going to be hanging out with you guys and reading comments and just looking at stuff on Instagram because it's super addictive. Anyway, winners. Last week we gave away these 3 charts, or we offered these as a giveaway, and many of you commented. I used the random comment picker, and the words were, for this one, bee. This was the Blackbird Designs Honeybee from the Garden Club series. And the winner of this one, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I actually did look it up. And the most common pronunciation is Sean. Sometimes with an R, Sharn Parrington, but I think it's Sean. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but congratulations. Please send me an email, or you can direct message me on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, it's just Trixie Tricycle, at Trixie Tricycle, with your address so that I can get this out to you. Midnight, including a skein of Onyx by Gentle Art. The Gentle Art is Sarah Grimes Emmons. Sarah Grimes Emmons. Congratulations. And Elizabeth Jane. The winner is Ginger Giant. So again, the 2 of you, or all 3 of you, can please either direct message me on Instagram or send me an email, and I'll put that, and I'll comment on the comments that you made to give you a heads up. But if you send me your addresses, I can get those out to you right away. So this week, we're going to do another 2. We'll give away 2 charts, and this week it's going to be This is actually new because when I ordered the Mirabilia chart for my mom, somehow I ended up with 2. I think I just had 2 in my cart. I went back. It was not the mistake of the online shop. I actually just had 2, the quantity in there. So somehow I did that again. So this is Silver Moon Tea by Nora Corbett for Mirabilia. If you want to win this one, go ahead and put in the comments tea. And we'll do a random drawing for that. And I think that we will do that on, let's take a look at the calendar. By June 6th. We'll draw that the morning of June 7th. Okay, so like, you know, sometime the morning of June 7th. So if you're watching this after June 7th, we've already cut off the date, but if anytime between May 28th, June 7th, 2021, put the word tea, T-E-A, in your comment. And we'll roll to win this one. And I'm going to share my little by little obsession with you. And I'm going to give away a copy of this little trifling thing for you. It's so cute. Use the word little. And we'll do a random draw for that one also. So again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you have a safe Memorial Day, and like to acknowledge our men and women in the military and people who have lost loved ones in the line of duty, and just appreciate, you know, their service. And it's kind of what Memorial Day is about. I know it kicks off the beginning of summer, but you know, I'm thinking about families who are missing their loved ones, and I'm always of the mind that the closer we can get to not having to send people into those kinds of situations, the better it will be for everyone. So here's hoping. Anyway, be safe, be nice to each other, and have a happy day.